Hey, what's up? How's it going, guys? Tonight, the theme for our chat will be female empowerment within the realm of fiction. I'm going to kind of hang out and chill for a few, see who joins, who would like to chat about this topic. Hello. Yeah, so this week I tried to use the YouTube app to stream live because I have an iPhone and the camera's really nice. But for some reason, it would not allow me to. Well, I guess I know the reason. I guess I don't have 1,000 followers. There's the reason. So yes, apparently, if you try to stream through an app for YouTube, they will not let you unless your account meets certain requirements. So kind of a bummer. But well, here I am with my crappy laptop cam, but it'll do for tonight. I'm going to hit up Best Buy and try and grab something a little bit better this week. All right, well, if you're joining me tonight, say hi in the chat. Hola. Hopefully tonight we can get a fun conversation going. I'm probably going to stream between like 45 minutes to like an hour. Kind of read the room, see how many people we can get to join us, and just kind of see where the conversation takes us. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Tonight's topic is female empowerment within the realm of fiction. How are you doing tonight? Hit me up in the chat. Sorry for my less than stellar webcam. I attempted to use my iPhone, but apparently if you don't have 1,000 followers, YouTube will not let you stream from your phone. Kind of a bummer, but yeah, I'm gonna hit up Best Buy and I'll probably I'll look for something that I can plug into my laptop until I get 1,000 followers, and then I'll use my phone. How are you doing, Megan? What's up? Thank you for joining me again. I really appreciate it. So we've got some fluctuating numbers tonight. I'm kind of like staring at the number, the little like people icons. It's kind of fluctuating up and down. My record is 5. Now it's down to 2. But either way, we're gonna have a great chat tonight. Hopefully, more people will jump in and give their opinion on female empowerment within the fantasy genre. But we'll see. We'll see. All right, so I just like hit up like a writing group that I'm in. Hopefully, directing people to the link in the. Okay, good idea. So hopefully, linking people or redirecting them in the main chat to the YouTube tab will not be too taboo for that. But yeah, it would be great to get more people in here, especially women, because well, it's about female empowerment. I, as a man, have my opinions and my feelings on the topic, but it is not quite entirely a lived experience for me. So I would definitely love to hear what women think about this. Yeah, I'm gonna try and hit up a couple of my writer friends to see if they would like to join the discussion. Let's see here. So I am going to give this a few more minutes. Welcome to the chat. Tonight, the topic is female empowerment within media. A discussion I would definitely love to open up and to hear what people think. Okay, let's see here. So I've been hosting these chats for like the last 3 weeks, and they're always Wednesday at 6 p.m. PDT time. I live in California, and I am going to hold myself accountable to continue doing them because they're a lot of fun, and it's a good way to get a bit more content on my YouTube and to express my passion and my love for different topics within the literary world. So I like I said, I'm hitting up a couple friends to see if they would like to join to talk. I hit up my writing group, but I am not entirely holding my breath there. Although Megan, you are a fucking champion. I love the fact that you are supporting me each and every week. I'm just not entirely sure anyone else will from that group, but everyone's welcome and appreciated. That shows. Okay, let's see here. I am at 3. Hello, hello, welcome. I am trying to see if I can get maybe a couple more people on from my writing group. It seems pretty active at the moment, but we'll see. Alrighty, so I guess I am just gonna like start because well, okay, here, 1 second. All right, well, thank you to everyone who is here. I appreciate you so much. I hope that we will have a fun discussion tonight. I've got like kind of a little like word pad thing open with notes, so I can sort of keep a little bit on track here between asking you guys some questions to see what you think and to sort of give my take on some stuff. So, alrighty, well, welcome and thank you to the people who have shown up tonight. I really appreciate you. You are freaking awesome. Tonight, I would like to talk about female empowerment within the media of like comics and TV shows, movies, and books. So, Again, as a man, I have, my feelings about things and how I write, but ultimately I am not leading a female experience. So I would love to hear what women think about this topic as well. Okay, so what does female empowerment mean to you within the realm of fiction? I would love to hear your thoughts on that. I guess as a male author who exists within a group of writers that is often trolled and made fun of. I guess there are male authors that do objectify women, so I'm not saying that all of the trolling is completely unjustified. But I guess for me, I like to write multifaceted characters with like layers. And when I think of women, um, or female characters, I love to give them agency within their stories. I think that, just like any other character, you sort of have to speak to like a human experience. So what Megan is saying, women being written correctly and as important as men and equal and as one. Yes, I agree. I think that there should be a sense of equality, which kind of leads me to something I think that, I think it's important to, if especially if you're writing like a marginalized group of people or a character, I guess that you haven't lived that experience. I think it's important to talk to people, to get their perspective and their insight on how to write that type of character. For me, I guess I try and write beyond what I guess like stereotypes mainstream media has spoon fed me for the longest time. For instance, I don't believe all women are obsessed with being married or having children or with any given beauty standard. I think that women should have agency and personalities beyond just stereotypes. I try and construct an interesting and rich history for the characters that I write. And I think that for something or for a character to resonate, you have to sort of envision hopes and dreams for that character. And, any sort of tragedy in their life that's, formed emotional scars or different challenges for them. So Megan says, yes, I don't want children, but only time you see that written is when women is basically written like a man. True, true, true. I think it can be kind of like a fine line as far as being tough when you are a man writing a woman or a woman writing a male character, where I think a lot of the times we all have preconceived notions of what it means to be a woman or what it means to be a man. And when we get lost in sort of like these like gender roles or these gender stereotypes, I think it doesn't translate well into like character arcs. But I definitely think it's possible to write a compelling female character arc if you're a man and vice versa. Just because typically speaking, not all women are the same and not all men are the same. Personally, obviously, again, if you're writing something and you're not sure, by all means, talk to somebody for advice. But I guess the way that I write women, I try and write them first and foremost just as like a living, breathing, multi-dimensional human being with a past and like things that drive them. And I don't try and speak to the female experience as far as saying, hey, I know what it feels like to be pregnant, or I know what it feels like to have a period. I don't know what it physically feels like to be in the female anatomy. So I would never like touch down on those types of things. Excuse me. So my next question, if anyone else wants to answer my first question, what does empowerment mean to you within the entertainment industry, as far as books and all that? What does it mean to you? So Megan says, I'm writing a female MC whose main goal is to marry and have children. She soon learns her worth, and though She still wants those things. Those aren't her goal and her personality. I think that's cool. I think that's good because you are writing it in a way where it's part of a character arc where somebody grows and learns as a person, and I think that's really important because I think so many times within like especially American society, women are raised to think that their job is to essentially grow up and to have kids and to be married and just and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with being a housewife, but I think that female empowerment is choice and equality, and I think within that given equality and the concept of giving everyone their own choice, I think that you don't have to like fit into this like mold of you know getting married and just having kids. I mean, because like my mom, she worked in her life, but she was also like housewife, and she worked really hard at that. So I'm definitely not like degrading that, but at the same time, I just think people should have a choice whether they want that or whether they want something else. Um, so we've got 6 people. Say hi in the chat. I would love to hear what you think. Alrighty, well, while you guys ponder that, I will hit you with another question. So, who are some of your favorite female characters? Like, ones that you felt were empowered and that were inspirational to you. That's a good one, definitely. So I looked up some pages because like there's ones I really like, and oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I looked up a few pages just for kind of references outside of my scope of like what I watched, and yeah, those were definitely characters that were on like top list Hermione and Katniss for sure. Some of the ones I liked were Buffy. I thought Buffy Summers from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I thought she was an excellent character. She was complex, and even though there was this sort of like sense of humor to the character and whatnot, she also possessed this destiny, this grand destiny as a Slayer, and she was, I guess, kind of weaponized in some ways, but also she was completely humanized as well, where the series started and she just kind of wanted to be a normal teenage girl and she wanted to date and she wanted to shop and there was just this normalcy to her, and but at the same time there was also a sense of like responsibility and duty, and she was for the most part she could be responsible, and at times she was a bit careless. I mean, she was a teenage girl and she was impulsive, but there was also just this very human element to her that was flawed, and throughout her arcs, you saw her grow a lot, and she had a lot of agency in her story. I really liked her character, and I really connected to her strengths, but I was also very touched by her flaws and the way that the writers approached kind of growing her as a character and whatnot. What do you like about Hermione and Katniss? Oh yeah, I like Megara too. She's a good character. I think as far as Disney characters growing up, I really liked Princess Jasmine because I felt that her character was interesting. I saw her as kind of a character that went beyond just like, someday my prince will come. She had a bit more of a mind and agency as far as wanting to be free and to make her own choices. And I thought that was an interesting aspect of Princess Jasmine. But yeah, Megara, I think like she was the same. She had a little bit more of an interesting story rather than just sort of being there to be beautiful and just only being a love interest. Some other female characters I thought were pretty empowered growing up is Sigourney Weaver's Ripley from Aliens. I remember watching those movies as a kid, and I thought she was pretty badass in those movies. So Megan says they're strong and move the plot along and are essential without being walking back of anti-stereotypes. I agree. Hermione can be a girly girl, but also saves the day with her brain. Yeah, she's an OP character. I remember when I first watched Harry Potter, and I was like, wow, she is probably the most capable character of like the three MCs because like going out of the gate, like she was able to pull off like more spells and just obviously she was kind of cheating in a way because she had that little time thing, but still, um, yeah, she was far more capable than Ron and Harry for sure. Like I was actually surprised by the end of the series that she wasn't like the chosen one because she was far more capable than they were. But yeah, I really like Emma Watson. I think she's a good actress. That she did a fantastic job portraying Hermione. As a kid, I don't know. Like as a kid, maybe it's just like something that is kind of like a gay male thing. But I always loved series that centered around like strong female characters. So yeah, I mean, I was into Buffy and I was into Charmed, and as a kid, I watched like these are so corny now, so please don't hold it against me. But I would watch like Gem and like She-Ra. But I've always enjoyed strong female characters. Xena Warrior Princess, Wonder Woman is my favorite DC character. When I think of Marvel characters I enjoy, they're usually like just like badass women. I don't know what it is, but I just have a lot of respect for women, and I just love seeing female character arcs that are just fascinating, interesting. I've always enjoyed that. Another character that I really liked growing up was Captain Janeway from Star Trek Voyager. I thought she was a very courageous and powerful character. She, was take charge. She didn't take anyone's shit, and she was pretty intelligent when she wasn't exploring every blip on the way home. But at the end of the day, she was a really interesting character. I liked her a lot. I also like Seven of Nine on that show. She was cool too. So, guys, who are some of your favorite characters within the realm of fantasy? Who do you think was a powerful and interesting, complex, empowered female character? So Megan says, "I love watching capable women who aren't constantly being saved by men." True, a lot of women are shown as fierce and capable, but then in swoops a man to save the day. A man that has done nothing. No, for sure. Um, I think one quote I can think of, or just kind of the sort of paraphrase, is by an author I enjoy, and I'm part of a writing group, Jen Morassi, and she often jests, and there's truth behind it, where she'll say that there are books that claim a woman's badass, but she's never actually badass in the book. She never does anything badass in the book, and I think that's kind of sad because I think that fiction needs like a little bit more of a show versus a tell when it comes to creating like badass characters, and I think that you should show your audience how badass are your characters instead of just saying that they're badass. So Megan says, I also don't mind watching women who do need rescuing as long as a man is picking slack. I believe it says that she can add something of value to her. Yeah, I agree. I think that women should go beyond just plot devices of like needing to be rescued all the time. But that was so tropey in like 1980s, 1990s, where a lot of stuff, especially action movies, where every lead man, like it's either his wife or his mother was killed, and then he obviously needed to set out for his revenge or something stupid like that. Or his daughter was kidnapped, or there's so many movies and like shows like that where women are simple plot devices who just sort of scream and cry and faint, and it's just like, Lord. Yeah, so I agree. I think that that is a bad trope for sure. One show that I liked that had a little bit of that, but it was like it kind of played to the romance was Sailor Moon. I think within Sailor Moon they sort of started out with her, and I'll say kind of why I like her character arc here in a second. But they started out where she wasn't a hero and she was kind of a coward. I mean, she was like a 14-year-old girl, and she wasn't just automatically brave, and she wasn't just this like superhero right away. And that's something that I loved about her character arc because when she started out, she just kind of lived this like sort of like mundane life of just sort of, slacking off and getting bad grades and loving comic books and anime and eating junk food and hanging with her girlfriends. And despite the fact, obviously, like, the humor never waned in the show, but she grew into a much more brave and confident and selfless person throughout her character arc, and that's something that I really love about Usagi, or well, in the old dub, Serena. But there were some episodes where she did get rescued by like Tuxedo Mask, and that was fine with me because it wasn't so much of a staple in the series throughout all of it. It even got to the point where essentially it's like she was rescuing him, and so I really enjoyed and I really enjoy Sailor Moon. I think Sailor Moon has a lot of strong themes of female empowerment and friendship and just um kind of realizing one's dreams and friendship and love. And I think there's a lot of very positive themes within Sailor Moon if people can look past the fact that they have short skirts. I remember once I was talking to somebody about Sailor Moon and they were like, Sailor Moon is sexist. I don't see how Sailor Moon is sexist at all, but okay. um Here, let me. So, have you ever watched something that you felt was sexist or stereotypical? Like, what do you think are harmful tropes when it comes to depicting female characters? And definitely, I'll touch down on like that the whole like sexism thing here in a second. And by all means, if you disagree, I would love to hear if you disagree and why, and that's cool. Like, everyone's entitled to their experiences and their feelings on the topic. I'm curious where you are coming from on this. So, have you ever seen, or what instances have you seen that you felt were sort of like harmful or toxic when it came to the representation of female characters in media? Like, what do you think are toxic tropes for like depicting women in the fantasy realm or sci-fi? So, while you guys kind of type that up, I'm gonna share something. So, um, this like past week, I wrote or I posted a poll on my Twitter. Sorry, little speech impediment there. But the question is do you believe that men are capable of writing a compelling female arc in a book? And it was kind of strange that I mean I was happy to see this, but it's still kind of weird when you see people that say no. But I got 11 votes. I'm not super popular on Twitter, but I got some votes, so that makes me happy. But so 72.7% of people said yes. And then there was the 27.3% of people that said no. And I'm not really sure why people believe that a male author is incapable of writing a compelling female arc. I don't know why people believe that. But so on to my question though is what do you think, or have you seen something that you believe to be toxic or harmful when it comes to depicting women in media? Oh yeah, I mean that's a cultural thing where opinionated men are strong and opinionated women are bitches. But the reason why that is because men don't like being like, well, misogynistic men do not like to be challenged or proven wrong. So for sure, like yeah, I mean, it's like I think that mentality was probably like made by misogynistic men who just didn't want women to argue with them or to disagree with them for sure. I think that's toxic. Oh yeah, definitely. I also think another really toxic mindset that people have in the media is that women can't be friends. Like they're all frenemies and people are constantly cheering on cat fights and just to say that women can't have genuine bonds, I think is ridiculous. And I think that's one reason why the original Charm series resonated with people so much is because it was a fantasy show, but it also had this strong sense of like female empowerment within their sisterhood. And I thought that was cool. I think it is a problem if, and Jackson says, I think it isn't a problem if the writer does research and talks to women beforehand, get the right prospects for sure. No, yeah, no, like I think there's a lot of TV shows and a lot of stuff that writes women is pretty one dimensional, and I think that's pretty toxic for sure. But I also think sometimes that goes to, even to how men are written. How women are written as sort of like really bitchy and like catty towards other women, and like they are written as just um, they're supposed to be sexy all the time and just like put together like like a model. I don't know. There's a lot of harmful stereotypes I think, but then you have men who are just written very simplistically as well, to where it's like hey, I'm a guy, I like beer and I like sports and I like looking at women. It's like okay, well as a gay man I don't, but but I think there's a lot of problematic stuff between how men and women are written. Women don't eat. LOL. Women eat food are so hot if they're skinny. Oh, right. Yeah, no, that's scary. That's a scary stereotype. I think a lot of women, and I think that's one of the reasons why women suffer from eating disorders more than men do, is because of the way the media portrays what women are supposed to look like and how they're supposed to just be really skinny, and so for sure. But I love to see books and different types of TV shows and stuff where women actually support each other and have strong friendships and bonds and like a sense of like sisterhood. And that's why I was saying I even liked Charm so much, is because like just that sense of like sisterhood is really what sold that show for a lot of people. That love that they had for each other on screen. I mean, it's kind of too bad that Shannon Doherty and Alyssa Milano hated each other for the longest time, and now Rose McGowan hates Alyssa Milano. But whatever, drama. But yeah. Anyway, so back into the realm of fiction. I love to see that within fiction because I think that women are capable of having healthy relationships with each other, and it's not just about frenemies and that BS. Not to say that doesn't exist, but that's not all women. All right, so oh yeah, no, for sure, for sure. I think that um, Megan says there's also a theme of fat women being a joke or not a real woman. No, for sure. I think a lot of the times, like, I think as far as body shaming goes, for sure, I think that women have it the worst of society. I think women have the highest expectation on them as far as like just their body, how their hair looks, if they're wearing makeup, bust size, etc. I think women have it the hardest within society as far as like just the standard that's put on them to live up to some unrealistic expectation of what people think is beautiful, and that's really tough. And then when you see certain TV shows that feature like kind of a plus size woman, and let's get real, generally what Hollywood calls a plus size woman in America is just your average size woman. It's like not really plus size, so that's kind of weird to me. But yeah, they're usually written off as just sort of like being the funny fat best friend, and they're not really, or they're seldomly. ever really given serious romances or featured. So when you do have shows that do come along that do that, it's awesome. I watched a little bit of this one series. I'm trying to think what it's called. I think Jackson used to watch it. It's where this woman was like a skinny model type character, and she was killed, and then she comes back in the body of like a plus size type woman. But I'm trying to think of the name of it. It was like on Oxygen, and I think, but it was a good show. It had a lot of good themes and like a lot of like really like meaningful things that got brought up in that show. But yeah, I'm blanking the name of it. I'm sorry, um, but I think there should be a bit more, a little bit more representation and a little less body shaming. Because as you know, as humans, we do come in all shapes and sizes, and I don't think that anyone should be validated or invalidated based on like the size of their body. Granted, I don't think anyone should be encouraged to be unhealthy, but I don't think anyone should be shamed, or I don't think anyone should be like devalued as a person based on like their waist size or whatever. So Megan says, I'm tired of shows and movies that center around married men in their 40s just looking at perfect women and being super gross out about it, putting down their fat lives. It's not around. I agree, but it is disgusting. So there's no excuse for it at all. I agree that more times than not, especially I'm just gonna say as a gay man, something I've observed is within mainstream media that does happen a lot where you'll have a Donald Trump, for instance. I'll just use him as an example as like the archetype pig of like a character you're talking about, where um, he is a slob, dude. Like he's gross, but at the same time, he has the audacity to call Rosie O'Donnell a fat slob, and like for sure that does happen in a lot of media where you have these like middle-aged, overweight male characters who have horrible skin and they're balding and they have absolutely no sense of fashion, but at the same time then they are like standing on this like soapbox, calling women, fat and slobs and gross, and for sure it's gross, it's toxic. And yeah, it is popular in all forms of media, but I think that just goes back to the mindset that women have a lot more pressure on them than anyone else in like society. I think next to that is sort of like gay men, because within our pulp culture and what's mainstream for us, it's all image based. I mean, when you are a gay male, it's like you essentially grow up seeing what's mainstream is like you have to be young and you have to be really fit. And I'm not saying it's definitely I'm not saying it's as bad as women, but it's definitely second to how women are treated in society. Gay men within our own community and with how mainstream media sees us is that we're supposed to be fit and we're supposed to be manicured at all times and we're supposed to have amazing fashion sense, and yeah, it's kind of crazy, but they're definitely are toxic mentalities against first and foremost against women. And then I think again, growing up as a gay man, I saw that a lot, that I was pressured to have a six pack and to have the right clothes and the right hair, and you know it's yeah. But so I kind of want to talk about a lot of books and movies right now. Attempts to gender. Right, right. Yeah, there's a lot of flipping going on. Um, but I think sometimes, it's just like it's definitely great to break a mold and to sort of think outside the box, and I'm glad to see like a lot of stuff has changed within media, because like I was a kid, I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and I've seen a lot more representation and a lot of tonal shifts within like media. I mean, there's still obviously stuff that's toxic and things that have progress that has to be made, but for sure, I mean, there's been progress, but I think there are things out there that are still pretty toxic, and I think it would be good to get rid of it instead of sort of flipping the script. But so, like, what do you think is sexist? Okay, so like I was like can you think of characters or a show specifically that you watched it and you were like, this is sexist? Um, like I don't know, I'm sort of brain farting. I think something like Baywatch for sure. Something where it was just like this oh, women in swimsuits, pretty much. But for me, and if you disagree, I respect that. But for me, like I don't automatically think if something's sexy it's sexist. Um, but like I said, I was talking to somebody once, and they told me, and I respect their right to believe whatever they believe. We all come from our different upbringings, and we all filter art and different things through our own experiences. So I mean, obviously we see things differently, but somebody told me that they thought Sailor Moon is sexist. And I honestly don't understand this mindset because, sure, they have cute outfits, but at the same time, the series honestly has structured character arcs where you get to know these characters and you see how they grow. And some of the themes within Sailor Moon is like finding courage and strength and loving yourself and friendships and dreams and like things that really matter to us as like humans. I mean, there's substance to that, like to that show, when you look beyond like the fantastical things of like the Dark Kingdom and and Pegasus, and there are very grounded human themes within that series, and there is a sense of substance to these characters. So for me, I can't just look at something and be like, oh, she has a short skirt, it's sexist. Because to me, true sexism and misogyny isn't a woman with a large bust. It isn't a woman who wears a short skirt. It's a woman who is just a large bust. It is a woman who is only a short skirt. I mean, because real talk, I mean, there are women who lead their own lives, make their own decisions, they have their own careers, and they wear a short skirt or they have a double D chest. Like those things do not devalue a woman. Like what devalues a woman, in my opinion, is to just essentially like break what are stereotypes, obviously, but to just solely like reduce a woman to being a set of boobs, to being a sexy outfit. If there's no substance behind the character and all she is just like eye candy on the screen, like right on, that sexist. But I don't think that just being sexy is sexist. Like I don't think that's like rational thinking. What do you guys think? And I'm not trying to shame anybody, don't get me wrong, but I feel like and I do understand that maybe some people are triggered by certain things because living a female experience, which I have not, but I can try and understand that there are so many women who probably feel so unsafe in different situations, and they feel pressure to look a certain way or to dress a certain way, or when they even do make those decisions of their own volition, they are vocally or verbally or even like sexually assaulted. I don't think anyone I would never deny the validity of those experiences, but I think sometimes people tend to close their minds based on their own issues, and when you look at something at face value and you judge it without understanding it, I don't think that's good either. I'm going to talk about a couple experiences I had while you guys if you want to share your thoughts on that. Um, I am in like a handful of Facebook writing groups, and at one point, I tried to be sort of active in them, and I saw in some of these groups that people share their art, their character art, and when I first published, my initial book was Curse of Blood. I just sort of had this like stock footage image for the cover, and when I did republish it, I had managed to meet an artist who drew some like anime style stuff for me, and I was really excited. And I posted a picture of my female character. She is a young Japanese woman named Hanako Shimizu, and I posted one of her commission pictures into a couple groups. And I haven't experienced this from like a lot of people, but there are a handful of people that look at the picture, and because they think that her breasts are too big, they think the character is sexist. And it's just, I don't know. It's kind of irritating because it's just, you can't always judge a book by its cover. And when I wrote her character, I wrote a fully thought out three-dimensional character with, a compelling arc and agency and just different layers to who she is. Things that she loves and things that she hopes for and things that have hurt her and things that, like she's struggling with. Like this is like in my opinion, and from the feedback I've got, like a fully realized and three-dimensional character. It's not just she's just not eye candy in the book. So yeah, I mean, she has this like cute gothic Lolita outfit and whatnot, but it's like it just sort of annoyed me when people were like, "Oh, she's a blow-up doll," and they just sort of judged the character based on this one picture versus actually picking up the book and reading it and kind of understanding like, hey, there's more to this character than just a cute outfit. It's like she's not a sexist character. I mean, again, I could understand if her only role in the book was just to like jump around and like, hey, look at guys, my boobs are bouncing. But that's not the case. That's not the case at all. And like I don't believe the character is sexist in the least. Again, sexist or sexy does not equal sexist. Like there are sexy women who are empowered and they're not just bimbos. So I just don't believe that it's a healthy mindset for women to look at other women and to deem them to be less than because of their bust size. Like to me that's like misogyny in itself, because when I believe, and there are way more misogynist males, of course, but I believe when women do this, it's a form of misogyny too. Okay, so Megan says, "LOL, women have boobs. People need to stop focusing on that when the woman is around character. There's this new trend to put down feminine women, which is just as bad as the opposite." No, I totally agree. Like I said, like in my opinion, for whatever reasons of however like women filter this opinion, to me it's like misogyny coming from a woman, and I don't think that's good. But there's always been that sort of debate within comic books where people are sort of upset because they view women in comic books as like they're just sort of like sex objects. And within society, I'll definitely concede that I feel that women by large are way way more objectified than men, of course. Like I will not argue that point ever. But at the same time, within the realm of media, whether you're a man or whether you're a woman, sex sells. And if you look at men within comic books, like anime, Western, it's like muscles on top of muscles on top of muscles because that's what sells for men. Um, so in part, yes. If you just even look at the comic book industry, for instance, I believe, and video games, like a larger percentage of the consumership are probably like heterosexual men. So they want to appeal to that demographic and that consumership because at the end of the day, it's a business and it's about money, and marketing is what sells things. So they want to market certain things to a demographic to sell. But either way, men are also made to be sexy. I mean, you look at superheroes like men, and they have like skin tight outfits on with like again muscles bulging upon bulging muscles. So my character Hanako, I flipping adore her. She is an incredible character. I loved writing her. I put so much heart into her character and just, humor and agency and just, she has interesting family dynamics. The way she is very close with one of her brothers, and she even has like a little nickname for him. You know what I mean? And her oldest brother, because she's the baby in the family, and she has one brother that's or two brothers, one that's like I guess the middle child, and then the older brother, she's close with the middle one, and they have a certain dynamic, and I don't want to give too many spoilers away from the book, but also at the same time there's a bit of resentment in their relationship despite their closeness. And then the older brother, um, she has sort of like a fatherly relationship too, because their father left when they were young, but they were also raised by their grandmother, and there's an interesting dynamic there too. So again, this is a three-dimensional character, you know. So I don't think I don't feel it's fair for someone to shame me. You know what I mean? Like I felt shamed. Like people were trying to shame me in this like writing group, and I had somebody who I really respect essentially say, "Oh, her boobs are like the size of some kind of blow up tires, or this, that, or the other thing," and it's like, okay, like no, really, they're not, and if you're that skeptical about the character, the substance of the character, why don't you ask me questions instead of like insulting me, instead of like degrading and shaming me as a writer, Because at the end of the day, yes, like it's art and it's subjective, but I think as like just as authors, we can have respectful discourse and we can talk to each other. I mean, we can ask each other questions without being degrading. And I felt like degraded in that moment, and I felt shamed. Like even though I really love the character, I approached the artist. I really approached the artist, and I was like, "How much would it cost to like redraw part of this character?" And looking back at it, it's like it's not even bad. It's like it wasn't even a bad thing, but it was just like this kind of criticism that was from somebody that I really respected and somebody that I looked up to, and I probably just should have ignored it instead of sort of spending like this like a little bit of extra money to kind of see what the character looked like with a more like conservative outfit. If you guys are curious, like what I'm talking about, you can check out my website, author Joseph Harkreader, HARKREADER.com, and I have a tab on the website that goes to all of my character biographies. I had a lot of fun making that. Anyway, so click on the Knights of Avalon tab, and you will see a character named Hanako Shimizu. And again, I really loved writing her because I put a lot of thought into and a lot of heart. And again, like the feedback I've gotten from reviews and people that have read the book is they really enjoy the characters. Like people say they're really well like fleshed out characters, and I really did put as much thought and whatnot into Hanako, like my female MC, as I did my male MCs. And there are other female characters I wrote within the Knights of Avalon series that have interesting stories and personalities, and like I feel that's important. I mean, it was even to the point where Hanako was like my favorite character, and personalities, and like I feel that's important. I mean, it was even to the point where Hanako was like my favorite character. And the first book is Curse of the Shadow King, and the title character is actually a man named Jasper Kane. And when I was done with maybe like the first or the second draft, I was like, I wonder if I put in enough agency and enough of a character arc for him, because I was really spoiling Hanako. Like I was like writing really cool scenes and battles and all this really emotional personal stuff for her character. So it's really important for me to write meaningful characters. So we've got writers here in the room. I know, Megan, you are a writer, and my friend Jackson Cole, he is a writer. I have checked out some of his that you really enjoyed writing. And thank you for sitting through that ramble, that speech. But it's a really meaningful topic for me. Again, I'm not claiming to have lived or completely understand the female experience. I'm not claiming that at all. And I do understand why there's so much pain and um, bad feelings and just scar tissue from the way women have been treated and the way women have been depicted. Um, what's happened, I definitely understand it, and it's not I don't have any like compassion. Whether it is equal pay, whether it is the right to choose what they want to do with their own body. I mean, there is so much like birth control covered insurance, and for feminine hygiene products, the government wants to. It's a shit show. I get it. I mean, whether you're discussing what it means to be a woman in the real world, or whether you're discussing what it means to be a woman within fiction, I get there's a lot of shit. There's a lot of injustice, and there has been a lot of shaming and a lot of stereotypical and toxic representation. So I'm definitely not denying those things. I just don't particularly think it's fair to pick, and we could never fathom writing a an interesting female character because we're not a woman. I think inherently, like as human beings, we're based, and I think that's important to realize too. And I think that's where even just the concept of so Megan said, "Oh, guys ask if I'm on my period, if I've been upset." Oh yeah, that's like such a dumb thing. Yeah, I agree. It's really inappropriate and it's toxic. But I think that that's something started by I think that that's something started by Hollywood when women are upset, obviously. But excuse me. I think there are a lot of things like that that just the media is to construct as like sort of a punchline, and people see, or I should say that they cease to see certain boundaries, and they just feel that they're entitled to cross those personal boundaries in your life because hey, I saw this in a, like so and so said this on a TV show where this was a one liner on the sitcom, so therefore I'm gonna be funny and I'm gonna say this. And it's like no, like that's not reality, and you probably shouldn't say that to anybody because this is not how people talk life. So yeah, no, for sure. I can only imagine as a woman like a lot of the really fucked up things people have said to you. Um, I mean, even recently, I was working last weekend. My boyfriend and I we sell drinks at this place, at this tavern or whatever. We sell jarritos, and I was at our workstation. We're at this like outside patio, and there's like these like two bars that are was like, hey, turn to the right. And I was like, what? I was like, what's like, what are you talking about? Was like, hey, turn to the right. And I was like, what? I was like, what's like, what are you talking about? And he was like trying to like when I was bending over. It's like, what? It's like, okay, first of all, I'm gay. And secondly, you're a fucking pig. And so that's just like definitely go straight to the pulse of what has been I discussed for was if a guy who only just have sex with him, he's a stud and they're sluts. They're slut shamed, and I feel like that's really messed up for sure. But I think that's like I guess I can kind of give an example within the entertainment industry when it came to music. It was Madonna, and I think that's why she's so iconic to a lot of people is because she wasn't afraid to speak her truth, and she wasn't afraid to just sort of like embrace her sexuality at a time where you didn't have women dancing up on a guy and just being sexy and just owning the fact that, she was a sexual being. So I think that in different forms or different mediums for the longest time, especially, they didn't want to know what women wanted because they were more interested in what they wanted or what they needed. And this time, and it is changing, but for the longest time, women were shamed or they were like kind of vilified for kind of speaking their truth. I've seen other writers, I guess, like one I can think of is Jenna Morassi, where she talks about um, she doesn't like it when virgins are seen as stupid, but then women who, or well, I guess, are not virgins or whatever, are seen as bad. It's the bad girl. She's the villain of the story because, well, like I said, I think female empowerment, obviously, within fiction and definitely has ties to um, the real world, obviously, because a lot of people take kind of cues from entertainment in a lot of ways. Like, I feel like our society, the way we judge things is a lot of or marginalized groups of how they're seen, whether something is cool or you know dumb, or if something's considered beautiful or ugly or PC or So let's see here. I wanted to look up kind of the type of female empowerment, and my computer's been kind of like junky right. So empowerment. So empowerment includes the actions of raising the status of the and training. Women empowerment is all about equipping and allowing women to make life-determining decisions. But I feel within media, depending on like the genre or even category of the story you're telling, I feel, or to create another set of role models outside of um, what young girls see at home or in school or in politics. And I think that's important too, to create interesting, like layered complex female characters that that don't live up to stereotypes and that are able to articulately tell stories that inspire and show young girls, that they have value, and that um, despite any sort of struggles that we go through in life, that if we work hard and we surround ourselves with good people, and that we can succeed in life, and that that I don't know. I guess I'm trying to think of things I love in books, and I'm trying to articulate that. So if I'm a little clumsy right now, I'm sorry, but I do believe that people do take a lot of cues from what they see in books and TV shows and movies as far as fictional characters, and I've seen a lot of people say that they're inspired by those things. And as much as I'd love to be creative, it's my passion, it's my dream to write and to tell stories. I believe that telling good inspirational stories, I mean, I'm not saying it has to be anything that's like an after school special, but to give representation that people can relate to, that they see themselves in something impactful and something positive. I believe that's important, and I think that most beautiful things that we can give back to. So Megan says, "I would love to see regular women doing their lives," and that's not relatable to many women. No, yeah, for sure. I've seen that where I'm trying to think of what I saw. Like this really good example of a show I saw. No, I mean I think that women can have kids and have careers, kind of like facets to like what it of their lives for sure. One of them was that to another woman that for the longest time for her generation, like essentially being a businesswoman was frowned upon, but she'd only focused on being a career woman, and she neglected family, and she neglected other aspects of her life. But the message was essentially like it's okay to want things, but to also just consider other aspects of your life and not to be so like, I guess, like hyper focused on like one thing, to fully develop yourself. Women who are, again, my mom was a housewife. Um, but that's like they're written out regular women doing important things in books and TV shows. Too many women are career driven and only have that in their lives. So, and then yeah, then you have that opposite end of the spectrum where women are only depicted as just kind of like these ruthless bitches who, again, it's like they're not in charge. They're just depicted as just kind of being like cold and like not unapproachable because they want a career. But then also you have, that other end of the spectrum that's been depicted in media um, where they're that within media. I would love to see, but I have seen a. So welcome to the new people, and let me know what you think of the discussion that was had. I welcome um I welcome anyone who doesn't agree or has a different opinion than me. I mean, again, we all come from our own backgrounds, and we all more times than not we're all really passionate about things, and we have our feelings, our feels, and you if you agree with the things I've said tonight, cool. If not, I would love to hear what you think. So definitely comment and let me know what you think. Alrighty, well, I am going to be on another 2 minutes, and then I am going to call it a night because I am freaking hungry. My boyfriend went out and he got Wingstop, but I didn't want to sit and eat on cam because I thought that might be kind of like, I didn't think that would be too good, me sitting here like, oh, no. So, but thank you, man. You are amazing. I just love the fact and appreciate the fact that you have been so active in all of my chats so far. You are awesome. Like it's really tough, especially when you're like an introvert and you have social anxiety to like hop on camera every week and to um to kind of open up. But it's nice when you have somebody like you when I have somebody like you to kind of help guide the conversation and to make it really fun. So thank you. And I will be back again next week. Hopefully I can get more people from my writing groups to jump on because these are fun topics. And thank you, Jackson, for talking too. Thank you so much. So if you want to, if anybody wants to share their social media or their website or anything in the comments, you are free to do that. If you want to share Twitter, or if you want to network with other writers, that would be fantastic. I think that's like one thing that is so important in the writing community is just meeting people and networking and supporting each other. So if you've got social media, I will definitely sub to you. I think it's important to be a community and to lift each other up. I think that's great. Sweet. So I hope you don't mind, Jackson, but I would like to say that Jackson is writing a great fantasy YA series called the Trenton Twins Archives. Definitely check out his website. He has some cool character biographies and awesome character art. And I've read some of the book. It's awesome. It's really good. Alrighty, well, again, feel free to share your social media. Thank you to everyone who joined in. If you have any comments or opinions, definitely hit me up in the comment section. Thank you again, Megan and Jackson. You are freaking awesome. Alrighty, well, again, I will be back next week. I will post because I haven't really decided on like a topic for next week. I probably should be a little bit more put together than that, but I have like a list of like 20 ideas, and I'm probably just gonna skim them tonight, and I'm gonna decide on one, and I'm going to post. I'm gonna post the the teaser for next week. But all right, thanks again. Have a good one. Bye.